How different animal species often adapt to extreme environments is generally the focus of most nature documentaries and a lot of scientific research. But there's one particular study that I want to highlight for you for this week's Science Sunday, and that's how the species like the Atlantic cod deal with hypoxic environments, that's oxygen deprived areas of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, Victoria Becker of the Institute for Experimental Medical Research at the University of Oslo has been looking at just that. Now, what her research looked into was how does the Atlantic cod adapt to its environment and what features does it have that enables it to deal with a hypoxic environment. Now, what it does is fish have a organ called a swim bladder. Now, due to this organ being oxygen filled, it enables it to be lighter than the water that the fish is swimming in, which gives it the buoyancy. And how it utilizes its swim bladder is how it really controls its movement in a vertical environment. Now, if you're looking for the functionality of the swim bladder specifically and you want more information on that, then please have a look at various different researchers, particularly marine biologists that have studied various adaptations in different fish species who go into topics like this in far more detail than I can in this video. But to go back to Victoria Becker's research, what they were finding was when the various different individual cod species that they had isolated for this controlled experiment were exposed to hypoxic environments, the level of oxygen in the swim bladder declined, and they were effectively oxygenating their blood to enable them to effectively manage in that extreme environment. And that transfer of oxygen from the swim bladder to the rest of its body was enabling the body to continue to function and being able to keep the animal alive and sustain it. And that's likely the adaptation that Atlantic cod use to navigate hypoxic environments to be able to adapt to these particular dead zones in the ocean where otherwise they would not be able to swim and traverse through, where they can't effectively regulate the oxygen levels in their body. But by using that internal mechanism, by transferring the oxygen from the swim bladder to other parts of the body, to their organs, and to being able to circulate that oxygen, which they've effectively stored in that organ for other uses, that enables them to be able to live, survive, and pass through these various different environments. And when they then go back to that environment, and when they then return to a regularly oxygenated part of the ocean, they're able to replenish the oxygen that has been depleted from the swim bladder and put them back into a situation where they're otherwise able to swim normally and maintain the function that the swim bladder is supposed to be there for. And this points to a further idea that the swim bladder is not just there as a swimming aid for the species. This adds further clarification on what the swim bladder's function is. And come back next week for Scientist Sunday, where I'll be discussing another researcher and sharing their work with you so you can find out more about them and the interesting areas that they're studying. Thank you very much for listening.